This is by Logic Beagle. Men can be victims. Female narcissist abuse. I'm interested to see what this is about. I'm very interested to see what this is about. I mean, we all know men can be victims, right? We all know this. But yeah. Let's get into this. Men can be victims. Female narcissist abuse by Logic Beagle. Let's get into it.
He says that she attacked with football moves and tackles and punched, kicked in the face, had a chair that was swung at him from across the room. His mouth was cut up, bloody nose and scratches on his face, neck, and chest. So you say she has come at you. These are Michael's allegations. He says that she attacked with football moves and tackles and punched.
You hear these women laughing in the background? Absolutely disgusting. And then here, which is funny because it's the most space that is replayed. So she can physically harm him, but he is not allowed to strike back? Sorry, my friend, but we have equality here. These hands are rated E for everyone. If you punch me, you better know that I'll be throwing my hands back. What is this garbage? This is a grown-ass man saying that it's okay when he gets punched, he should run away. But when he fights back, that's evil. You should never hurt a woman. Fuck these rules. If you hurt me, if you hurt somebody that is important to me, I don't care if you're a woman or somebody's grandma, I'll knock you out.
Never, ever put your hands on a woman in anger.
If you had a magic wand, where would you like to go?
This is Paul Jenner. On the 23rd of October 2019, he was violently assaulted by his girlfriend, Sherry Naidu, and not for the first time. He had been assaulted by her before, but this time the beating was particularly savage. This assault came just 5 days after his partner had been released for committing a similar offense. Paul was treated in hospital for facial injuries and a brain bleed. He sadly died 12 days after the attack.
This is sad. This is so sad. Nobody cares. Because it's a man.
In February of 2021, coroner Sean Cummings recorded a conclusion of unlawful killing. He said, "Hearing the evidence, I consider that it is likely beyond the balance of probability that Sherry Naidu did subject Paul Jenner to a violent assault, and that assault put in train a sequence of events that led to his death. Even though Sherry Naidu admitted to the assault, the judge in her case declared there was insufficient evidence to prove this was the cause of his death. Judge Lynn Taton ruled there was no case to answer on the murder charge, nor even for the alternative charge of manslaughter. Guess what Sherry's sentence was? Go on, have a guess."
Nothing. Some community service hours at best.
16 months.
In jail, right? In jail.
Look at this article I found while researching this video. It's by a writer named Natalia Milano, and it's called "Why I Stopped Slapping My Boyfriend in the Face." In this piece, Natalia talks about how she used to occasionally strike her boyfriend and thought nothing of it. Even her friends, she says, admitted to slapping their boyfriends once in a while. So why did she think this behavior was acceptable in the first place? Well, I'm going to get to that. But first, there's a famous joke by Richard Pryor from his 1982 stand-up Live on the Sunset Strip.
Now you gonna believe me or your lying eyes?
Who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? He's talking there about his wife catching him having an affair with another woman. But that joke is essentially how I feel about the news media. Their gaslighting is often breathtaking, and it's been nowhere more apparent than with the Amber Heard Johnny Depp version.
Yeah, this was an absolute shit show. This clearly showed the bias of society towards abused men, and that a woman just cannot be an abuser, never ever in any eye of any woman. There are still women out there, fairly popular accounts out there, that still defend Amber Heard for abusing Johnny Depp and shitting on his bed.
Verdict. It's been a maelstrom of misinformation and bad takes.
Either this was a case of what one expert called mutual abuse, or Amber Heard was the primary victim.
The media are talking about this trial as if we weren't able to watch it ourselves live for 6 weeks. Here's Moira Dunnigan on The Guardian, who calls the ruling illogical in her article, "The Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial was an orgy of misogyny." But the problem with Moira's article and many...
Yeah, misogyny. Defending yourself. I'm still horrified of the video we watched Book Talk. How about no one hurt no one? That's my take. That'd be the best case scenario, right? That'd be the best case scenario. But the harsh truth is that if somebody hurts you, you should be allowed to like defend yourself by all means necessary, right? Not by not like by all means, but like equal, equal force, so to speak. What's your type? Him? People from prison. She looks evil. Yeah, that's why I always wear a body cam around a woman who looks sus. Remember Ninja? The popular like Fortnite streamer, he said he will never be alone in another room with a woman. Yeah, that's and people attacked him for being misogynistic when he is right. Aside from his wife, he will never be alone with another woman. Completely understandable. Police has also been wearing more body cams now, and ever since police in the United States has used more body cams, people that were like, there's police violence, have been really quiet.
Many others like it as they forget that a large percentage of the people supporting Depp are female.
I'm looking for justice for Johnny because he deserves it.
Justice for Johnny Depp.
I hope that Amber gets exposed.
I'm just very excited to be here and, actually be, with Johnny Depp.
I am not an Amber fan.
My outcome for this is that Johnny wins the defamation trial.
As Chris Rock said, believe any woman but not Amber Heard.
She says in the article about the vitriol Heard has faced that it is hard to shake the feeling that really it is directed at all women. So that begs...
That's crazy. Like, I know the women that supported Johnny Depp were far more than the women that, hard, like the women that were happy about like Amber Heard and like supporting Amber Heard. I know that.
The question, why are the pro-Depp female supporters directing vitriol at all women?
I actually quit my job for this.
Trying to explain the Depp verdict with the accusation of misogyny is lazy and simplistic. I suppose we should be thankful that the one thing these gatekeepers haven't done on this occasion is blame it on QAnon. Oh no, wait. This is a familiar refrain from the media today, portraying enemies of the official narrative as crazy conspiracy theorists. Here's Caitlin Tiffany in an article for The Atlantic with a snide aside about a Depp.
React to the Cameron Herron situation, it's crazy. Maybe. Why the internet hates Amber Heard? Because she's the piece of shit.
Fan Lady Victoria Hervey saying that she's espoused a New World Order conspiracy theories and described the pandemic as a eugenics program. Even if she did all of those things, so what? That has no bearing on her support for Depp and what it means for male victims of domestic violence. The media have given Amber Heard the benefit of the doubt, justifying all the times she admitted to being physically violent or is heard cackling like a crazy person.
Like selling your journals.
They have ran with the theory that she was reacting to Depp's alleged abuse. This was the same defense Amber Heard herself used. In fact, she had a good excuse for all of the abuse she inflicted on Depp. In this article,
It's all, but it's really crazy. Okay, maybe I'll look into that. Was that her laughing? That is insane. How a washed-up celebrity, men's rights activists, and true crime stans convinced millions of Americans to buy into a conspiracy theory. Insane, dude.
Article, The Bleak Spectacle of the Amber Heard Johnny Depp Trial. Michael Hobbs says that despite Heard admitting that she hit and taunted Depp, she's still the sympathetic one because, to quote Michael, she's not a perfect victim. He at least admits that the evidence against Heard is damning, but since we must take it for granted Depp was beating her, he says, why are we talking about whether she was annoying sometimes? Why is Amber Heard the more plausible victim, according to the news media?
And they did not believe your...
Because she's a woman, you know? That's the harsh truth, because she is a woman. In addition to that, she's also a successful woman. That man killed a mom and a child, and girls are protecting him because he looks good. Oh, now I remember this. Like the curly hair guy with the brown hair and the black mask. I remember that.
Your testimony or your evidence.
Moira Donegan in her Guardian article says that many are quick to point out that Heard is not a, yes, you guessed it, a perfect victim, but no woman is. And here we get to the crux of the matter. Abuse has long been defined as a woman's issue, and domestic violence is a term that has become synonymous with wife abuse. Gendered Situations, Gendered Selves, a paper published in 1996, states that victimization may be so deeply female in experience that a man who is victimized, in an attempt to refrain from being emasculated, may refrain from expressing his fears, asking for help, or even discussing the situation. One of the good things about the very public Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial is that it has opened up a discussion about the abuse men can suffer.
That's also, when we look at relationship dynamics. A man is supposed to be the rock for a woman, but a woman can never be the rock for a man, because, you know, you can't be emotionally vulnerable, because, unfortunately, there's a lot of women out there have told us men that if you are emotionally vulnerable, it will heavily backfire. That's also one of those, like, gendered, situations. Yeah, okay, then I knew who that guy is.
Suffer in intimate relationships. Abuse that some women are capable of inflicting on men, all with the understanding that nobody, it seems, would believe a man can be a victim.
See what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny.
I have 2 permanent indentations in my left shoulder where I was attacked with a hammer with such ferocity that the...
With a fucking hammer? Yeah, if somebody was attacking me with a hammer, it's over. Somebody's dying, and spoiler alert, it's not me.
The handle of the hammer actually broke. Her justification was that I didn't tell her often enough that I loved her, and I didn't instigate the physical side of the relationship. That was her justification for the violence, that I'd made her feel unattractive.
In the UK, the Office for National Statistics figures show that 1 in 3 victims of domestic abuse are male, equating to 757,000 men.
1 in 3. Hear that? 1 in 3. However, that is unofficial reports. A lot of men that receive physical violence by their partner don't recognize it as that, because they're men. A lot of men that also... I can tell you, there's a lot of men out there who have, like, been sexual, like, have, received, how to put it? Not SA, but molestation by women that they do not consider that because nobody ever told them that such a thing is bad. I think the case of physical abuse and sexual abuse are pretty close when we look at the genders. That's horrifying, it is. Imagine the woman you love, or the man you love, goes after you with a fucking hammer.
But these figures may not be accurate because of the stigma about coming forward. Men underreport the abuse they have suffered. This makes it difficult to capture the abuse rates accurately. An in-depth study in Canada examined the experiences and effects of physical abuse for 12 married men aged 25 to 47. These men had sustained injuries such as multiple bruises and abrasions, dislocated ribs, injured genitalia, minor head trauma.
Multiple bruises and abrasions, dislocated ribs, injured genitalia, minor head trauma, numerous lacerations, and internal injuries.
Numerous lacerations and internal injuries. The men indicated something quite typical when it comes to this issue. When they spoke up, their claims of abuse were not taken seriously.
Let me go back. Let me go back.
Something quite typical.
Let me go back. I want to know what these women used. Weapons used by the wives included clothes hangers, steak knives, scissors, screwdrivers, cellular phones, fingernails, metal pots and pans, rolling pins, keys, and other thrown objects. Holy hell!
Minor head trauma, numerous lacerations, and internal injuries. The men indicate.
How do you even dislocate a rib? I don't know, but apparently it works.
It's something quite typical when it comes to this issue. When they spoke up, their claims of abuse were not taken seriously.
Tell me right now, why? Why?
And later brought bystanders together to talk about what they'd seen.
My first thought was that he must have cheated on her.
The men are laughing. Are you retarded?
But he looked guilty. Exactly.
Shane admits during his career, he has seen many men in the same situation.
Yeah, I've answered more calls, almost more calls, dealing with men being abused as opposed to women.
Some male victims do not speak up because they fear people will assume that the woman is the real victim and she must have been acting in self-defense or retaliation.
Yeah, because it is easy to turn that around. It is very easy to turn this around. I do understand this.
Retaliating to his abuse, a narrative that the media have went with in the Depp Heard case. This self-defense claim is a great get-out-of-jail-free card for some abusers. In the UK, we actually have a member of parliament.
How can someone even do that to a person, let alone a partner? How the hell do you even raise a person that would do that? Victim card, pretty much. How do I put this? So there's multiple routes, yeah? There's multiple routes. Okay. One is that person, like in this case the woman hurting her partner, was raised in a household where that was the norm, physical abuse. In this case, they usually continue that habit because that's what they have learned. Another thing is that these violent women know that they can be violent and that they can get away with it. They have turned that way. So I think just like people that turn that way, or people that were raised in homes where that was normal.
Parliament who once physically assaulted their partner and was even arrested and detained for the offence. To understand why this person is still an MP for the Liberal Democrats, it would be helpful to explain that she's female.
But most bonkers of all are the complacent, often white, often male.
Layla Moran was arrested in 2013 for slapping her then boyfriend at a party conference. In her post on Twitter, she says it wasn't their finest hour and says she slapped him because she felt threatened, of course. She's currently the spokesperson for Foreign Affairs and International Development. Some sections of the media couldn't wait to defend her. This article
You don't lay your hands on another person because you might feel threatened. You get distance. You don't slap another person.
Was actually published, Mitigating Female Violence Against Men with Bizarre Logic. It reads, female perpetrators of domestic violence do not go on to mass murders and terrorist binge kills. Here's the person who wrote that article. While Amber is on the more extreme end of the scale when it comes to abuse, women with personality disorders can inflict all kinds of trauma that don't necessarily involve physical violence. Physical abuse can sometimes be less psychologically damaging over the long term than the slow and steady drip of emotional abuse.
It's a lot of breaking the spirit. It's a lot of...
Yeah, a lot of people don't really talk about emotional abuse. A lot of people really don't do that. And it's hard. Yes, a lot of people also don't believe that that is a type of violence.
A lot of belittling. And after so many years of hearing the constant belittlement, or the belittling, the comments, the negativity, a person could start to believe that.
Yeah, she was academically very bright. She got a lot of A's, went to university, obviously, and I wasn't of that type, and I think she used that quite a lot.
My girlfriend tortured, stabbed, and starved me. What the fuck?
In what way? What did she do?
Just to belittle me, say you're dumb, you're stupid, you're thick, all the time.
This study, Abused Husbands and Narrative Analysis, looks at female and male intimate partner violence. One of the subjects, Brian, issued an almost identical statement to others in the study, saying that the verbal and psychological abuse were much worse. The destructive force of emotional abuse is the favored weapon of the disordered female. This abuse can be...
Yeah, because it's not physical. It's harder to prove. So they can use that. Not that women use that that method exclusively, but a lot of women do use it. More women do use emotional violence. But again, you can't really prove that. You have no proof of it.
Very subtle and builds gradually over time.
Well, I guess you could record it, but how do you ever get into the situation where you could record it?
Toxic women can subvert their femininity and exploit their physical attractiveness to lure a victim. Many red flag behaviors like love bombing or being overly attentive or complimentary in the early days of courtship are of course taken at face value by the victim. Narcissistic personality disorder is one of the most common personality disorders following this pattern. Another thing the narcissist might do is mirror her victim to such an extent he thinks he's met his soulmate. For the average guy who gets into one of these relationships, it's truly heartbreaking because he thinks he's met someone who genuinely loves and cares about him. But this, of course, is only the deceptive precursor to the real fun and games.
I don't really understand why, but then it just developed into more.
When did she burn you?
She started stabbing me before that with a knife.
If she starts...
So she burned him as well? Ugh.
Punching you, then you turn around and walk away.
The average guy out there is in what's known as the scarcity mindset when it comes to relationships.
But so anyway, I was also wondering, I'm going up to Santa Barbara this Saturday for an orchid show, and I
Oh.
I'm sorry.
In the dating arena, men simply don't have the kind of leverage the average female has. And the frightening thing is that the toxic
Yeah. A lot of men live with the scarcity mindset, yeah. The truth, however, is that a good partner is rare. That's also an issue, but I understand. I have that same mindset. Though the difference is I've accepted that I'm running out of time. So I don't really care at this point anymore.
Female may be fully aware of this. Daryl, another case study from Abused Husbands and Narrative Analysis, said, I have a really low self-esteem and would go out with anyone who gave me the time of day. Progressive verbal degradations accompanied by increased attacks aid abusers in controlling their spouses. The insidious
Understandable. There are a lot of men out there who will take just anybody. And it quite literally means just anybody. They would rather be with somebody that physically abuses them than to be alone. I know that because I know men like that.
Emotional abuse perpetrated by someone with a personality disorder like narcissism includes things like dehumanizing comments that are designed to disarm you and jokes that are designed to hurt you. There is gaslighting, making you doubt your own perception of reality, and rules. So many rules. The rules are there to remind you that you're the servant and she's the boss. Nothing you do is ever good enough, and you'll be constantly trying to please this person. Chasing her approval will become your life. Think of what it might.
Honestly, this explains men changing to women. There is a lot of men out there who transitioned because they weren't able. Like, it's not the majority. It's a really small minority, very, very small minority. But there is men out there who transition to being a woman in order to find the partner, if that exists.
Might feel like to be living with a person like this. One of the most evil characteristics of a narcissistic person is how they have come to know your weak points. This person is someone you have invited into your life, someone who is supposed to love and care about you, and they're using your weaknesses as weapons. These people, these toxic narcissists, see you, their most intimate partner, someone they're supposed to love. They see you as the enemy. This is not a relationship. This is warfare. When the narcissist is settled into the relationship and things have become more solidified, this is when the mask will begin to slip and you'll start to see and hear.
Last stream you said you would try to fix physical abuse. Please don't do that. I think it's better to be alone than to be abused. You say that, but then again, you don't know how hard loneliness is at times. I would still rather try to fix that, to be honest, than to be, like, alone. A woman turned into a man. She committed the rope death. I won't say suicide. Crap, I said it. Well, anyways. I think, was it Nora Vincent? I think it was was it Nora Vincent? The lady that turned to a man for a few like as an experiment to prove that men have it easier than women. And when she what was the word? When she realized that was not really the case, she actually it was too much for her, and she unfortunately ended her life. That is really sad.
Things that unsettle you. One of the double standards we've all internalized is that female on male abuse is no big deal. Think about how many times in a TV show or a movie you've seen a man being slapped or punched or kicked by a woman. And how often has this been done for comic effects, or maybe simply because it's assumed the man deserved it?
That's one of my favourite scenes, actually.
It was something I cannot explain.
He wasn't really annoying in that moment. You couldn't help it. I was like, yeah, he deserves a good punch for that one.
You must see I had no choice.
Debbie felt that the Demelza should stand up for herself and just be a bit modern for once. And so she wrote this punch, and I turn around and I smack him. And everyone went, yes!
Remember that
It is so weird. Just like the dad being nowadays normalized as the babbling fool. I disagree. I think you can still not be lonely. It's just more to do with family and friends instead of a lover. Yeah, but if you have that desire to have a family of your own and to have kids of your own, friends and your parents and siblings cannot replace that empty hole. That's not possible. Neither of those two are the love is different. it cannot be replaced.
Article by Natalia Milano, Why I Stopped Slapping My Boyfriend in the Face. Natalia blamed the cultural influences that promote this behavior. She at least realized, better late than never, that hitting the person you ostensibly love should never be acceptable. Amber Heard felt emboldened to publicly accuse Johnny Depp of all kinds of abuse.
Or simply put, you cannot fill a circle with a triangle.
Despite knowing full well that she was a violent abuser within their relationship, she realized she would have been coddled and supported by a culture that seeks to give women the benefit of the doubt while never for a second taking Depp's claims seriously. Some of the worst takes about the case have come from mainstream media outlets, like this article in Vox by someone named Constance Grady. Listen to this. The article states, if Heard is not a perfect victim, if at times she instigated violent encounters with Depp, that does not change the fact that Depp had power over Heard that she did not have over him.
And along with that, I also find it horrific that we have started to more and more infantilize women. We are not treating women like adults. It is so weird to me. I understand that. I'll still disagree. Yeah, you can disagree with that. I'm not saying that you should disagree with that, but at least understand where I'm coming from.
Depp sure was older than Heard and had more star power, but what good were those two pieces of leverage within their relationship when she still felt emboldened to mock him, to bully him, to berate him, and to hit him?
Your bug. Is this gonna be good for your bug? Is this gonna be good for your bug?
All of this talk about being an imperfect victim rests on the presumption that during the entirety of their relationship, Depp was the one from the outset instigating physical violence, and Heard was only ever reacting to it. Strange then that she'd be hunting her abuser from room to room and attempting to break down doors so that she could strike him.
Attempting to break down doors, shitting on his bed. I wonder how that looks if she finds another partner. Are they gonna mock her partner? Like being with somebody that shits in another man's bed?
Unlike with the Paul Jenner case, the Amber Heard verdict went the right way. It's so shocking to some voices in the media because of how unusual it is to see such a public shaming of a woman. Harriet Williamson writes in The Independent, Heard has been summarily destroyed. I wonder how many of us could honestly say that our mental health would ever recover if we were subjected to the same treatment. Sure, that's a good point, but if Depp were on tape saying to Heard, I didn't punch you, I was hitting you, stop being a baby.
But I was hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched. You're a fucking baby.
Would Harriet Williamson be complaining when people condemn Depp? Would she be...
She won't, I think. Who do you mean?
Concerned about Depp's mental health when he received a Twitter pylon?
Depp's star power dwarfs Amber Heard's, an imbalance that has led to his ex-wife being vilified online.
The media behave like an abuser. They gaslight like the worst kind of narcissist.
And it's like, that's not, like, think about it, that's not just all. Like, he lost, like movie roles and stuff. Like, his career is still, like, heavily damaged to this day. Even if he has one.
It's a relationship we should all probably quit. Remember when Amber said this to Johnny?
Tell the world, Johnny.
She knew male victims seldom speak out, and when they do, what court is going to believe them? Well, on this occasion, she was wrong. While many in the media still support her, twisting the narrative to bolster their anti-male bias, this conversation about the chaos some women can cause in relationships is at least being discussed.
This video is private? Okay, bro's video is gone. That was a good video. That was a good video. Yeah. What can you say? This is the fate of men when it comes to this, and I highly doubt that it will ever be, you know, undone. And like anything's gonna change. If anything, it's probably gonna get worse.